So, you're interested in a new Suzuki KingQuad 500 or 750. Both machines have a proven track record of being durable, backed up by a number of viewer comments through the years. So which one interests you most? Is it the 500, with its power steering equipped model saving you a cool grand over the 750? Or is it the 750, the largest displacement single-cylinder 4x4 ATV on the market, for only $1,000 more than the 500? Of course, financed over 5 years, that extra $1,000 may wind up costing you a bit more, depending upon your credit. Perhaps the 500 being a little light in its class means that you don't really need the extra 229 cc's anyway. Also, both the 500 and 750 share virtually identical chassis, suspension, brakes, bodywork, and more. What's the only real difference? A little horsepower? Perhaps picking between these two machines isn't quite as easy as we initially thought. Fortunately, we happen to have both the KingQuad 500 and 750 on hand, so we thought we might as well see how they stack up. ATV on Demand Suzuki KingQuad 500 vs 750 Shootout was made possible by Maxima Premium ATV Engine Oil, formulated for today's higher revving, hotter running, high-performance engines. Exceeding OEM specifications, its proprietary additives create a sheer, stable polymer system, providing unsurpassed protection against wear, oxidation, viscosity, and thermal breakdown. Its wet clutch formula provides outstanding fade-free clutch performance. Maxima Premium ATV Engine Oil, available at power sports dealers everywhere. You can watch our tests of both the 2019 KingQuad 500 and 750 for complete details and detailed reviews of both machines. So what's different? Essentially, the engines are about the only thing separating these two ATVs. The 500 displaces 493 cc's with a bore stroke of 87.5 by 82 millimeters. It features a 4-valve single overhead cam design. The 750 displaces 722 cc's with a bore stroke of 104 by 85 millimeters. It features a more complex 4-valve double overhead cam head design. Both engines have a 9.9 to 1 compression ratio, well within the margin of safety for long-lasting engines. Both quads feature CVT transmissions with high and low ranges plus neutral and reverse. Each features a unique clutch calibration to keep its top end in the best part of the power. We can't remember ever hearing a viewer complain that they wish an ATV with a remotely lockable front differential had one of those self-locking differentials like Can-Am, or a drive system that switches back and forth between 2- and 4-wheel drive automatically like Polaris. Discriminating ATV enthusiasts typically prefer a standard 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive setup with a lockable front differential, the type of drive system found on both the KingQuad 750 and 500. The California Air Research Bureau states that the 500 produces 38.2 horsepower, with the 750 producing just under 50 horsepower. Both machines are said to respond well to adding a high-quality aftermarket exhaust and fuel controller, like HMF's stainless steel Titan Series exhaust and fuel optimizer, which are said to add between 10 and 15% horsepower across the RPM range on both models. Sharing a beefed-up chassis and suspension, with new gas-charged shocks featuring 5-way preload adjustment. The dual A-arm front suspension has 6.7 inches of travel, with a dual-arm rear suspension delivering 7.7 inches of travel. Braking is handled by standard hydraulic disc brakes up front and a low-maintenance sealed multi-disc system out back. Towing capacity is identical at 1,323 pounds, as is the capacity of their steel racks at 66 pounds front and 132 pounds rear. Both machines feature 10.8 liters of onboard storage. Bodywork, lighting, and most other parts of these machines are identical. For our friendly little rivalry, we had test rider Pat Collins in his brand new Fly Racing F16 gear ride the machines back to back on the same sections of trail. We let the KingQuads take turns towing each other around, then finished off with a short timed moto. Starting with machines, the 500 seems to spark to life a little more quickly consistently. We're not sure if it's due to a faster cranking speed on the 500 or if the 750's fuel injection is running a bit leaner. The 500 seems to emit a bit less vibration at idle or when you're on the gas. The CVT's clutching keeps the 500 running a bit higher in the RPMs, taking advantage of a bit more engine speed to get the job done. The 750 seems to run lower in the RPMs, where you can feel the pulses of the engine a bit more than the handlebars. We didn't find it annoying, but the 750 does emit a bit more vibration than the 500. Comparing engine performance, there is no denying that the 750 puts out more torque and horsepower. This is most noticeable when you make an abrupt demand on the throttle, exiting a corner, or when you're attacking a steep hill with little run. With our trailer loaded down with the 500, the 750 was working less, running at a lower RPM to accomplish the same task, although the 500 wasn't struggling to pull the 750 either. At times, we weren't trying to push the engine's limits. The 500 didn't seem very lacking compared to the 750. Both machines accelerate smoothly and predictably from a dead stop, and their transmissions seem to do equally well at keeping power available on demand. Cruising the trails, we could ride either machine happily without complaint or any great bias. The slightly more vibration-prone 750 seems a bit quieter, due to the fact that it operates at a lower RPM almost all the time. Suzuki made a step forward in 2019 in handling and suspension performance. The front shocks are now noticeably firmer than the rear shocks. While the ride is still pretty balanced feeling, the front shocks don't use as much travel under high or low speed compression scenarios. The front end bottoms less on jump landings, and compresses less on G-outs and under hard braking. The higher riding front end makes steering and handling a little more predictable anytime that the front end is under load, with no serious complaints of oversteer from any of our test riders on the 2019 models. Previous years' handling predictability benefited greatly from power steering, and even with the shock and sway bar updates, we suspect that power steering is still going to be an important feature for potential KingQuad owners. Excessive roll from the lightweight, uninspiring Carlisle tires holds both machines back in the turns. If handling performance at more than a casual pace matters to you, both machines would benefit greatly from a tire swap. As you might expect, steering accuracy, handling, and suspension performance are all virtually identical. Although under throttle, on smaller uneven bumps and ripples in the trail, we found the 750 slightly better at absorbing bumps and keeping the tires tracking with the terrain. With a claimed curb weight of 725 pounds, the 750 weighs a mere 11 pounds more than the 500. The extra thrust of the 750's engine drives it harder into oncoming bumps, forcing the suspension to open up and become a bit more active. Cruising along, suspension performance is pretty much identical. Charging hard, the 750 gets the edge. The extra power of the 750 doesn't really push the brakes much harder out on the trail. Again, curb weights are within 11 pounds of each other with identical towing capacities. Braking performance is essentially equal on both machines. To see how the actual speed of both machines compared, at the end of our test, we sent Pat on a quick run out to the end of his property and back on both machines. The 750 went first, with a time of 1 minute 30 seconds and 25 1/100ths of a second. The 500 was respectably close, within 3 1/4 seconds and 1 minute 33 1/2 seconds. While the machine's power plants don't seem radically different just cruising the trail, when you want to get up and go, the 750 is a bit quicker. If Padded ran his larger hills as part of our time loop, the gap for sure would have been bigger. In conclusion, on paper the 500 appears just as capable of getting work done. And on almost any trail, it will get you from point A to point B just like the 750, unless of course you're trying to cruise faster. For a hunting machine, casual trail rider, rental fleet, construction company, or large farmer with tractors and other larger machinery to work with, the slightly more economical 500 makes a lot of sense. For the small farmer that's more reliant on their ATV to pull a heavy trailer, drag things, or pull an implement that might otherwise be pulled by a small tractor, the 750's extra power will mean less stress on the engine over time. If you're as serious about playing as you are working with your 4x4 ATV, or you plan on adding larger tires, you will most likely be happier in the long run with the 750. The cost of an exhaust and fuel controller for the 500 would eat up a lot of the difference in price between the two machines. Additionally, the 750's clutch setup from the factory leaves a lot more performance lurking in the 750 compared to the 500, with a simple clutch upgrade. While very similar machines, we feel that the KingQuad 500 and 750 are definitely better suited for two different types of riders. Riding both machines back to back helped us decide which machine is a better fit for us, and hopefully will help you make a more educated buying decision. For more information on the KingQuad 500 and 750 and their full line of ATVs and motorcycles, log on to SuzukiCycles.com. If you have any questions regarding either of these machines, please leave us a comment. And check out our individual test videos of the 2019 KingQuad 500 and 750 for more in-depth reviews. We've got way more ATV action lurking in our other videos. Receive our latest videos as they're released by subscribing to ATV On Demand and enabling notifications. Thanks for watching.